Hello, it's Jen from Winrose Fiber Studio. Today we're going to be doing 3 different things. We're going to be preparing for our next project, which is going to be the modern market bag, and I will post a picture of it right there. We're also, because we're going to be using the ripple stitch, which is a tutorial I made a little while back, and I've always loved this and I've always wanted to use it in a pattern. So we're going to be using the ripple stitch, but I'm going to update the stitch pattern a little bit, and we're also going to talk about gauge for our project. And then we're also going to be selecting yarn. I went to Michael's just this morning looking for a yarn that might be perfect for this project. I picked up 3 different skeins of yarn, and so that will probably lead in to a little bit of a yarn review. Hi again. I wanted to start off today by giving you a better idea of this project we're working on. This is the modern market bag. It's a shoulder bag. From the front, it almost looks like you're wearing a draped front vest. When you look at it from the side, you can see that there's a very generous opening for the arm, and it sort of wraps around your body. It's spacious and a very comfortable bag to wear. I think this project's going to be a lot of fun, so I hope you'll join me. Let's get right into it. I have been doing a test run using Lion Brand's Pound of Love, and you can see I didn't choose a very vibrant color, but I went with this basic color, which is actually kind of cool. It's sort of like a mushroom brown or a rosy brown, just to work out the pattern. I always seem to update patterns when I make my YouTube videos, many times because the pattern I'm using is something I've written quite a few years ago, and I have ideas about how I'd like to improve upon it. So for the modern market bag, what we're making, and I don't even know if I can get the whole thing on screen, but it's essentially a large rectangle with a square cut out of it. The square then becomes the shoulder strap, and because it's turned at an angle, it's more of a diamond shape, and there's plenty of room for your shoulder and your arm to come through. So now that I have the whole pattern worked out, and I'm really loving the ripple stitch for this pattern, the back side of it is cool looking too. And you could choose to line this bag, but I also don't really think that you need to. It makes a really solid fabric, and a fabric that holds its shape really well. I haven't done any blocking on this piece yet, but I really don't feel like it's going to need blocking. So this is just the first side of the purse. I will need to crochet a second rectangle, and then they'll be crocheted together to create the whole market bag. But before I even start making this tutorial, I want to talk to you about the stitch that we're using, which is a ripple stitch. I think there's quite a few stitches out there called a ripple stitch. So this is one ripple stitch, and I've updated the ripple stitch a little bit. We're going to have really nice straight lines on the edges, and it's just a very clean finish. So I want to talk through that today. But before I do that, I think I want to talk about yarn. So when I make projects and share them, I really like to select yarn that everyone has easy access to. So I went over to Michael's this morning to see what they had on hand, and I ended up coming home with 3 different yarns by Karen. So I came home with Karen's cinnamon swirl cakes in this colorway, which is called Beach Towel. One of the things I like about this stitch is the way that it makes up when you have more than one color in your yarn, but you need yarn that doesn't change colors too quickly. You need larger fields of color. So my eye was drawn to this, and I was kind of looking for variegated yarns where the color change didn't happen too rapidly throughout the skein, and that's why this one really caught my eye. So that was the first one I picked up. The second one was also by Karen. This one is Cotton Painterly Cakes, And I looked at this one because I really wanted to find a natural fiber, something like a recycled cotton. This one is 60% cotton and 40% acrylic, I think. And I also picked this one up for the cotton content and also because it has large fields of color. I did not like the colorways for this one very much. This one that I picked up is called Intense Iris. And this is about as intense as these colorways get. They're all very pastel. I tend to like more saturated colors. And then, and I'm not sure what made me pick this one up. This is Funfetti Cakes. And I picked this one up. This one is called Crisp Linens. These are, by the way, these are all medium size or 4-weight yarns. And I really assumed that I would hate working with this. This is super slippery. It has a little bit of that plastic sheen. It kind of feels, you can feel the acrylic. But I liked the gray and white, and there's also little nubs of gray throughout. And I'm kind of a sucker for anything that has a little bit of a tweed look to it. So I was just kind of curious to see how this would make up. So this is the third one that I picked up. So we're looking at 3 Caron yarns. We've got Funfetti Cakes, we've got Cotton Painterly Cakes, and we've got Cinnamon Swirl Cakes. So I'm going to set these off to the side and show you the swatches I made. So I took each one and I just did a very small swatch of our stitch pattern. Right away, I really like this cinnamon swirl cake. You can see how these colors are going to really blend nicely into each other. This is 100% acrylic, and I'm not going to tell you that it doesn't feel like acrylic, but what I like about this yarn is it feels really sturdy. It holds its shape well. It's going to be strong. I'll be able to fill this up with everything I want to carry around this summer. So I like kind of the strength and sturdiness of the yarn. I'm really liking the way the colors are blending together. And it didn't really have that drag. Sometimes when you're crocheting with acrylic yarn, just the plastic nature of it, there's a lot of drag on the crochet hook, and I really wasn't experiencing that. So this one is, I'm feeling pretty good about this one. The next one I tried out was the Cotton Painterly Cakes. So I didn't even get through my entire swatch when I came across a really large knot in the yarn. I feel like my trust with this yarn has already been broken. How many other knots are in there for me to run into while I'm trying to work? It's also feeling a little bit flimsier. Like, I like the feel of the cotton. I think between coming across this knot almost right off the bat, the feel of the cotton, which actually has a little bit more drag on the crochet hook, and it just feels a little bit softer, and I kind of want something that has a little bit more firmness or holds its shape a little bit better. So I might be setting the Cotton Painterly Cakes aside for a different project. I'll use this for something. I do kind of like these colors, and I have a couple other summer projects I'm thinking about. I'm going to set this one aside for now. And then I have the third one, the Caron Funfetti Cakes. This one I really expected to be kicking myself for even buying it. Like, it is so slippery feeling, like it can't even hold its skein shape very well, and it's kind of a crazy yarn. But then when I was working with it, it was actually really nice to work with. It made up really well. It didn't drag on the crochet hook. I don't think I'm going to use it for this project because the colors are a little more muddled than I want them to be. I really want to see the stitch definition of the ripple stitch. So I think that's the reason I'm not choosing this for this particular project. This one was a bit of a surprise, but the winner is definitely going to be Cinnamon Swirl Cakes. This does come in different colorways, so if these colors are not for you, I think you'll be able to find a colorway that you like. But also, you don't have to choose any of these yarns. We're going to be working with a medium weight size 4 yarn, and you can choose anything you want. The sample that I worked up, I made it up in Lion Brand's Pound of Love. I keep some of these really large skeins around so that if I'm making a prototype of a pattern, I just have enough yardage. And this actually made up really, really nice. I love the stitch definition. I think it could be really fun to use Pound of Love and maybe even make a two-toned bag. You know, I think these colors would look really pretty together. You could have the body of the bag be green and the top be kind of this nice rosy color, or vice versa. So when you're picking out your yarn, pick one color or pick two colors to make a two-tone bag, or pick a yarn where the color changes. And if you do that, pick one where there are larger fields of each individual color. We're going to be working with a 5mm hook, or the size you need to obtain the gauge. I'm pulling apart this little swatch that I already made so I can show you how to make the stitch that we're going to be using, and also so we can make a fresh swatch and taut gauge. The overall measurements of the Modern Market bag are 18 inches wide by 24 inches high. While it wouldn't matter if you were a little off in those dimensions, if you want to go for the same size, let's look at how to create this stitch, and then once we make a swatch, we can measure it, and you can use that to determine if you might want to size up in your crochet hook or size down. To make the ripple stitch, we're going to start with a row of foundation double crochet. We're going to start with an odd number. For the sake of gauging and making a small swatch, I'm just going to do 13 stitches. So I just attach the yarn to my hook with a slip knot. When I make a foundation stitch, I like to hold on to the back loop when I chain 1, and then we're going to chain 2 and chain 3, and then we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go through the back loop and the back bump of that first chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop. I'm going to grab the working yarn, yarn over, pull through 1. There's the base of our foundation double crochet, and then I'm going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's our double crochet. So we've made 1 foundation double crochet. So let's do our second stitch. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go through the back loop, which is right to the right of my thumb, and the back bump, which is the working yarn that I was holding on to. Yarn over, pull up a loop. I'm going to grab the working yarn again, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's our second stitch, yarn over, back loop, back bump, yarn over, pull up a loop, grab the working yarn, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I am going to stop talking, and I'm just going to keep working on my foundation double crochet until I have a total of 13 stitches. I haven't been counting. Do you think we're at 13 stitches? So when you're counting your stitches, you have that beginning chain 2 that doesn't really count as a stitch. Here's our first stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I need 2 more stitches. I'm going to go back in. 12. And 13. The nice thing about beginning with a foundation double crochet is it has a nice elasticity to it. The kind of stretch of the bottom edge is really similar to what the stretch will be on the top edge of our work. So here we are. This is row 1 of the ripple stitch pattern. So we have 13 foundation double crochets. The way I've changed this pattern is I'm going to be using stacked stitches throughout. And so what we're going to do is we're going to turn our work so that the working yarn is behind the fabric. I'm going to elongate the loop on my hook just a little bit, go into that first stitch, grab the working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is the first single crochet of this row. So that's a stacked single crochet, and now we're just going to single crochet in each stitch across. There will be a total of 13 single crochets. So here we are, and that's our second row complete. Now once again we're going to elongate the loop on our hook just a little bit, turn our work so that the working yarn is behind the fabric, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. We're going to make a stacked double crochet. So now I'm going to turn my work and go underneath these 2 side threads, and then I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That creates a standing double crochet. And the next thing we're going to do is yarn over twice and work a front post treble crochet around the post of the double crochet below the next stitch. So here's the next stitch in our row, but we're going to go under that. We're going to do a straight line down to that double crochet just below it, and you can see I've inserted my hook around the post of that double crochet. I'm going to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I'm going to skip that next stitch. We've got our double crochet and that next stitch. We're skipping that next stitch and we're working a double crochet in the stitch after that. Yarn over twice. We're going to work a front post treble around the post of the double crochet beneath the next stitch. Skip that stitch and double crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble. Skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble. Skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble. Skip a stitch, double crochet in the next stitch. Front post treble. So I had to take a moment to put in a new battery. So we're on the last double crochet of row 3, and the last double crochet is worked into that stacked single crochet. It's a little bit shorter, and you might have to turn your work. If you look towards the back, you can see the front and the back loop of that single crochet. Just know it's a little less pronounced than a single crochet would normally be. And there we go. So let's look at row 3. You should still have 13 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We've got our first row of ripples. So we've got double front post treble, double front post treble, all the way across. I just love all that texture. So that's row 3. The even rows, you're always just going to elongate that loop, turn so that your working yarn is in the back, go into that first stitch, grab the yarn, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and there's your stacked single crochet for the first stitch of row 4, and then we're just going to work single crochets across. The even numbered rows will always just be rows of single crochet. And now we're going to turn our work. I'm elongating my loop a little, and we're making a stacked double crochet. Let's look at this really closely together. I might zoom in even a little bit more. So let's zoom in like crazy. So we're just going to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, turn your work. It's almost like there's a stitch there. You're just going to go underneath those 2 threads, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. There's your stacked double crochet. I'm going to back up because that's a little too close for comfort. Here we go. So for row 5, you work a stacked double crochet in the first stitch. You work a double crochet in the second stitch, and now you're going to work a front post treble around the double crochet below the next stitch. It gets really easy from here on out because you're always going to be working your front post treble around the double crochet between the 2 front post trebles from the previous odd numbered round. So you can kind of see here's that ripple and that ripple. We're going to work our front post treble around the post of the double crochet between these 2 ripples. So you can think of it like that, but it's also just going to be the double crochet directly below the next stitch. So we yarn over twice, we insert our hook front to back around the post of that double crochet. We work our treble, and then you're going to work a double crochet in the next stitch. Remember, we're skipping the next stitch and then a double crochet in the stitch after that. Let's do it a few more times. We're going to double wrap, work our front post treble, skip a stitch, and then double crochet in the next stitch. Yarn over twice, front to back around the post of the next double crochet or of the double crochet directly below the next stitch, skip that stitch, and work a double crochet in the next stitch. So our double crochets are always going to be in the stitch that lines up to the previous ripple row. Yarn over twice. Here's our next stitch. Here's the double crochet directly below that stitch. It's also between 2 ripples. We skip the next stitch, which is behind that stitch we just made, and we work a double crochet into the next stitch. Yarn over twice, front post treble, double crochet into the next stitch after we skip that stitch behind the treble. And now there's a stitch remaining. We're going to work a double crochet into that stitch. So that is row 5. You can see that row 5 begins and ends with 2 double crochets, and then the ripples, then the alternating ripple, double starts. That is the whole stitch pattern for the ripple stitch. To carry on with the ripple stitch, you're going to repeat rows 2 through 5 respectively over and over again, and your fabric will just grow, and it grows very quickly because you have these taller stitches. Let's go ahead and measure the little swatch that we just made. So this is rows 1 through 5 of the ripple stitch, and we've got 13 stitches across. This creates a swatch that is 4 inches wide, or about 10 centimeters, and it's just the teeniest bit over 2 inches tall. 2 2/16 maybe? Just over 2, and if we go and look at the centimeters, it's about 5.5 centimeters tall. Very close to 4 by 2, so if your little swatch is measuring at about the same size, then your finished modern market bag should measure right about the same size as mine. If it's a little bit smaller, you could easily go up a hook size and it would still be pretty comfortable working with this yarn with a hook one size larger. And it would also be very comfortable to go down a size with your crochet hook if your swatch came out a little bit bigger than mine. So that is all for today. I can't wait to see how this makes up with all of these different colors. I think that's going to be really cool to see all of these colors just interacting with each other. I'm so excited to work on this project with you. Let me know what yarn you choose for your project. Maybe you have something in your stash that this is perfect for. It would be really fun to know what everyone's yarn choices are. I bought 3 of these skeins just to be on the safe side. I haven't worked this up myself yet, so unfortunately I cannot tell you exactly how many yards you'll need. I think 2 will probably do it. If you want to wait until after I post the pattern before you buy your yarn, just so you don't have to buy more than you need just in case, totally cool. I will make sure I have that information in the description once I post the tutorial. I guess there's nothing left to say except for thank you so much for watching today. I'm excited for this project, and I will see you next time. Bye.